And now to start our meeting officially, if you'll join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now call this meeting of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners on March the 25th duly open. And we'll start right off with the agenda. Prior to moving, we will, I'd like to put a motion forward to excuse Commissioner Humphrey from the meeting today. Do I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Humphrey?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that motion. Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Commissioner Humphrey, if you're watching at home, obviously we miss you and we understand your absence here at this board, and I just wanted you to know that you are duly excused. We'll move to C, a proclamation designation of National County Government Month in Clermont County. I understand Mike Bomer will be accepting this from a distance.
Do we want to do our approval of our regular session after that or before that? Item
We-
B?
Oh, I'm sorry, I moved
That's all
ahead
right.
a little far.
That's all right.
We'll go to item B, approval of regular session minutes for 3/23/2020. Do I have a motion to approve the regular session minutes?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that motion. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Now we'll move to item C for the designation of National County Government Month. You know the protocol is different here, 6 feet, you know that. Okay, here we go. National County Government Month, whereas the nation's 3,069 counties, serving more than 300 million Americans, provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas Clermont County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. Whereas supporting the National Association of Counties, NACO 2020 theme, Clermont County is demonstrating how counties matter, especially in supporting older adults, their families, and caregivers. Whereas Clermont County prides itself on its commitment to our citizens, the stewardship of our resources, and the continuous search for innovation. And whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services, and therefore let it be resolved that we, Clermont County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2020 as National County Government Month in Clermont County, and it's signed by David Painter, President, Edward H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, Member. Mike, on behalf of the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, please accept this proclamation for National County Government Month. Thank you. And the podium is yours.
Great, thank you very much. Could you imagine a world where, with nowhere to call to report a crime or house a criminal, a place with ramshackle roads, polluted waterways, unsafe drinking water, decimated farm fields, limited job opportunities, and no services for seniors, veterans, or the developmentally disabled? Well, thanks to county government, we don't have to face such a situation. The nation's more than 3,000 counties provide essential services to create healthy, safe, vibrant communities, serving more than 300 million Americans. Clermont County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. Clermont County prides itself on its commitment to our citizens, the stewardship of our resources, and the continuous search for innovation. So during National County Government Month, we're joining counties across the country to demonstrate how counties matter, especially in supporting older adults, their families, and caregivers. So, and we know these are really trying times, but really county government, it's been amazing how people have been really rallying. I mean, I just left our daily phone call with more than 45 representatives of the county teleconference we do for the COVID situation, COVID-19. And they would like to relay the message that, please continue to report child abuse. calls are way down because kids aren't in school anymore. And our number is 732-STOP, 732-STOP. And also, surprisingly, calls are down to the mental health crisis line. I mean, if somebody's having a hard time, they can call 528-SAVE. And if somebody, even if they're just really struggling, they might not have a serious mental health problem or challenge they've always struggled with. 528-SAVE is there and ready for them. And these are just two examples of a lot of things that people may take for granted, but county government really does a lot. And thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And with that, just to add on to that, to all those who are watching, just like Mike has just talked to, Clermont County is open for business. If you have a need for services, don't hesitate to make that call. Find out what modifications have been made to that particular department, but the services are still available. Thank you, Mike. Commissioner Corcoran, I'd like to move a member comment up here on the agenda before item D.
Absolutely.
If you would give me a moment to join me in reading a statement, please.
Yes.
I wanted just to talk about for a second the difference between safety. Safety is on everybody's mind, but one of the things that still seems to loom out there is the election process. And I just want to make sure that you know where we stand here as Clermont County Commissioners. The safety and wellness of Clermont County citizens is our first priority. I know it's yours too. Together, our mission is to manage our current environment and practices to result in zero injuries. And when I mean zero injuries, I mean that we move this curve down as far as we can, and that those who are actually impacted are the bare minimum that have to incur this sickness. Changing our daily routines is not something that's easy to do, and I know it hasn't been easy for us, and I know it's not easy for you. So far, we're doing a great job. Our Clermont County teams have been in Walmarts, Kroger's, gas stations, and restaurants to obtain needed items and takeout. We've seen folks wearing respirators, gloves, practicing social distancing as we've traveled about the county. I personally have seen lane changes in Kroger's as people approach each other in an aisleway. What we don't usually see all around us are those dedicated workers, stocking, cleaning, and sanitizing to make our travel safe. When you do see them, thank them. Pam Hovercoss, Clermont County EMA Director, and Julianne Nisbet, our Clermont County Public Health Commissioner, are working around the clock to ensure that this emergency is managed in the most effective manner possible to reduce the spread of COVID-19 and ensure your safety and your families. Pam and Julie's team includes first responders, medical workers, nurses, county leaders, elected officials, law enforcement, and too many others to properly recognize here at this board meeting. Those team members are dedicated to you and your families. They're out on the front lines, risking their lives and the lives of their family to help you during your time of need. You are responsible for your safety and the safety of your family. Follow the COVID-19 guidelines. Wash your hands frequently. Keep your hands below your face when possible. Practice social distancing and stay home unless you're essential personnel required for your respective vocation. In addition, check on the elderly and check on those that are your family members that might have specific needs. Election? Well, I'm just going to be frank for a second and said, who gives a damn right now? When you and your families are safe, then we'll get right on that. Until then, the word election is removed from my vocabulary. Your safety, that word's branded on our hearts. May God watch over you, Clermont County, in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Also, in addition to that, if there's any contractors or anyone out there who has any PPE equipment that you could share, there's desperate need for first responders and for everyone on the front line to be able to have access to those. So if anyone has any of those in your stock, please make sure that you share them through the County Health Department. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. We'll move to D, a consent agenda. A consent agenda has been prepared. We've had it in early prior to this meeting, had the opportunity to review it, have changes made. Is there anything on the consent agenda that needs to be removed for further discussion?
None.
Okay. Then I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that. Roll call, Judy?
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. E, non-consent agenda. Non-consent agenda starts on page 2 with item 3. It's a recommendation the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 040-20, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the total amount of $4,293,205.24, as set forth in the BCC approval invoice reports, the checks dated March 25th, BCC directed prepaid invoices, and the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on March 23rd, 2020. And further, authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for the same pursuant to 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second that motion. Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 4. Morning, Lyle.
I'm Lyle Bloom, Director with the Clermont County Water Resources Department. And item number 4 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 041-20, resolving to determine to make improvements relative to the construction, operation, and maintenance of the collection system rehabilitation 2019 project located in Miami Township, and designated as project number 6402-62008, in conformance with the detailed plan specifications and estimates of costs and financing as herein ratified and confirmed, all of which shall be paid from one or more of any combination of the wastewater replacement and improvements fund, wastewater capital improvement fund, any portion of any federal or state grant or loan should such become available, and or by the issuance of notes or bonds pursuant to section 133.08 of the Ohio Revised Code, and payable from revenues derived from sewer rates and charges levied for the operation of the Clermont County wastewater system, and subsequent thereto to approve the request to advertise for bids for the project pursuant to the plans and specifications, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. Schedule a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on Tuesday, April 14th, 2020 at 10 a.m. with bids to be received until 2:00 p.m. local time on Thursday, April 23rd, 2020 in the Office of Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, where they will be publicly opened and read aloud shortly thereafter, and this notice will also be posted on the county's website. So this project involves the rehabilitation, which is cured-in-place pipe of approximately 2,600 feet of 8-inch and 12-inch sanitary sewer that's located kind of cross-country behind some homes, off of Cook Road near Boyd E. Smith Elementary, Milford Elementary. The engineer's estimate for the project is $520,500.
You've heard the reading of item number 4. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further conversation or discussion? How old are these lines, Lyle?
They were installed in 1967, and they're asbestos cement pipe. So they're not some of our oldest sewers, but the material is really prone to deterioration, and we actually have a section of it that is the top of the pipe is essentially missing. So we have a remote read level sensor in one of the manholes upstream of that. So if it does collapse before we're able to get in there and do the rehabilitation work, our crews can respond and do an emergency repair.
Okay. And the rehabilitation work you're going to do, are you lining, cementous lining? Is that what you're going to do?
It's a cured-in-place pipe, and the material, it's not cement. It's not
Okay.
cementitious, and I'm trying to remember the material that they use. But no, it's not.
Okay.
Not cementitious. Sorry.
Anything further?
Done.
Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is a recommendation to approve the request to advertise for competitive sealed proposals for a water and wastewater rate and fee study for the Clermont County Water Resources Department pursuant to the specifications, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on Thursday, April 2nd, 2020, with said proposals to be received until 2:00 p.m. local time on Thursday, May 14th, 2020, here in the office of the Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, where they will be publicly open and acknowledged thereafter pursuant to and in compliance with Section 307.862 of the Ohio Revised Code, and this notice will also be posted on the county's website. So the past two rate studies that we completed, the last one was in 2010, and prior to that was in 2000. So about every 10 years, we do a rate study. They'll develop a rate model. The actual last rate increase that we did was for our water rates, which was a 3% rate increase in 2015. You've probably heard me say before, Clermont County has some of the lowest water and sewer rates, probably in the country, but I know in Southwest Ohio, we have the lowest water and sewer rate, combined water and sewer rate of, I think they surveyed 67 different jurisdictions, villages, counties, cities, and we do have the lowest. So this will look at planned improvements, projected increases for chemicals, labor rates, all the other things that continue to increase as we do business, and help us plan for any needed rate increases that'll be necessary to kind of keep up with what's going on.
Any, off the top of your head, any projection of what you're looking at for an increase?
No, not off
Good.
the top of my head. That's what we're gonna have them do.
Just testing.
There's no way you're gonna drive down.
I know, I can't pull it out of
Not
you.
gonna happen. Well, keep us abreast, Lyle,
Yeah.
as you always do.
I'm just
Any further-
I'm just planning, Lyle.
So this will just, we'll get proposals from companies that do rate studies. This won't include the actual proposed rate increase. And then it will be by the end of this year, we should have the final proposal, which will be presented to the board, and that would include any rate increases if necessary, any recommendations for that.
Thank you.
Anything further?
No.
Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 6. Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you.
I'll take item 6, I'm not sure if.
All right.
Okay.
Recommendation of Chris Dennison, Deputy Director, Clermont County Board of Elections, with my concurrence to adopt resolution number 042-20, resulting in the fine that the equipment listed on Exhibit A attached thereto is no longer necessary for the use of Clermont County, is obsolete and unfit for the purpose it was acquired, and has no value and may be discarded or salvaged pursuant to in compliance with Section 307.12 of the Ohio Revised Code.
You've heard the reading item number 6. Do I have a motion for approval?
I make the motion?
Second. Anything, discussion further?
No.
Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 7.
Good morning.
Morning.
Item number 7 is a recommendation of Linda L. Fraley, County Auditor, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize David L. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute a software-as-a-service agreement by and between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and Socrata Incorporated, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Tyler Technologies, for hosting and support services for the Socrata software products in and as it relates to the county's property tax system, and as more fully described in Exhibits A, B, C, and D, identified as investment summary, invoicing payment policy, Socrata support policy, and the statement of work, respectively, attached thereto and made part thereof, at a rate of $192,000 per year for a period of 5 years, plus a one-time cost of $57,400 for professional services identified as a Socrata consultant, for a total cost not to exceed $1,017,400, effective for the period of March 25th, 2020 through March 24th, 2025, pursuant to and compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein. So as you're aware, this is a revaluation year for the county, and every 6 years the county auditor is charged with that being able to go out and reevaluate everyone's home and property. It's also updated every 3 years. We've actually brought in-house the residential side related to that. And so what the Socrata product does for us is it's going to allow us to tap into internal and external sources, data sources. That's going to allow us to hopefully, what we're looking at doing is improving the accuracy and the efficiencies of what our current assessment process is, and then also the evaluation of that process. So data that's collected then allows our appraisers and our analysts the opportunity to evaluate and review the data quicker. And what I mean by that is, right now, we're pulling data into spreadsheets, multiple spreadsheets, trying to sort and do certain things. And what this will do, instead of having to utilize those sources that are taking considerable amount of time, it'll allow us to streamline that so that we can do these processes more efficiently. And instead of it being, we're talking hours or days, now we can have it within a matter of minutes. The other piece of this is going to be an external piece. That will be the transparency side, which is going to allow our taxpayers then to be able to utilize and see how their values were derived. And that is going to be the piece that we use because every year or every 6 years when we do this, we try to make sure that we have everybody aware of what their value is going to be in the upcoming tax year. So this will give them an opportunity to have a more robust and a further snapshot and look-see into how we're driving into those values.
Okay?
Chris, can you give me the ABCs again, please? The list you were giving, the invoicing, what it does?
As far as, so let me give you an example, probably be the best way to do it. So for instance, in the mass appraisal, we're not going out, it's not fee simple, so we're not going out and touching each individual thing and going inside and like you would if you're getting a house, if you're refinancing a house or you're trying to get an actual appraisal. We're only going to be able to look at the outside. So we do a mass appraisal approach. One of those things is land costing, okay? So we're looking at land costing that goes across the board, across neighborhoods. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to then to determine, are we too high in a pocket? Are we too low in a pocket? And so what this does is it allows us an opportunity to bring in data that we have collected already, and then also look at like other outside sources as well, just to verify that we're not too high, we're not too low, and we're able to pull out those pockets and make adjustments accordingly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything further?
No.
I'm going to make a motion and a recommendation that we table this particular item, and I'm going to say why. It's not that it's not needed. It's just we're in a particular situation here where we know that the economy is shut down. We are going to be looking at the possibility of reduced taxes and revenue to Clermont County, and right now, I'm just not comfortable with committing $1 million. What I would say would be, let's table this to sometime in the future indefinitely, and we'll take a look at this again when we have better information. I've made the motion. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Item number 8.
Commissioners, I'm speaking from the podium because apparently they can't hear me because I don't have a mic. But
Okay.
we're trying something new this morning.
You are.
So Mr. Evans, our county engineer, is going to handle the next 5 items, and I'll turn it over to him, and he's up on our Zoom. So we're inviting our elected officials and our staff if they have something on the agenda. So we're going to try this out today, so bear with us if it doesn't work exactly how we planned, but we'll give it a shot.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good morning.
Morning, Jeremy.
All right, so item number 8, excuse me, it's a motion, a recommendation to adopt resolution number 043-20, resolving to authorize myself as county engineer to execute local public agency federal local wet project agreement number 34524. That's by and between the Clermont County Engineer's Office in Batavia and the State of Ohio Department of Transportation of Columbus. This is for federal funding from the FHWA relative to the CLE VAR pavement marking fiscal year 20 project, PID number 111649. This is an estimated total project cost of $150,000, with the federal share being 100% of that cost, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein. This is a grant that we've applied for and received. As mentioned, it's 100% federal funds. This will provide pavement markings for 7 of our roads.
Great.
You've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Any further conversation or discussion?
No.
Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 9.
This is a similar item. It's a recommendation to adopt resolution number 044-20, resolving to authorize myself as county engineer to execute local public agency federal local let project agreement number 34541 by and between the Clermont County Engineer's Office and the State of Ohio Department of Transportation of Columbus for federal funding from the FHWA relative to CLE VAR resurfacing fiscal year 21 project PID 111651 for a total estimated project cost of $2.5 million, with the federal share being 80%, the remaining 20% being local share from the NP&G fund, pursuant to and compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein. This is also a grant that we've applied for and received. This will allow us to resurface 7 roads, approximately 16 miles. This agreement just allows us to proceed, and we'll be back with a bid package next.
Heard the reading of item number 9 for federal grant for road resurfacing. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item 10.
Item 10 is a recommendation to execute record plat number 6293209 for the replat of a lot in the Whitaker Woods subdivision. This is in Batavia Township. It's a replat of lot number 7. It's record plat number 629-3209. It would create a new lot number 7A.
Heard the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item 11.
Item 11 is a recommendation to accept the following grants and assignments of storm sewer easements heretofore granted and conveyed to the Board of Commissioners, Clermont County, Ohio, as it relates to the Harvest Ridge Stormwater District in Miami Township, which was established and created pursuant to and compliance with resolution number 031-19, adopted by the Board of County Commissioners last year on 3/20/2019. There are 2 easements listed below. This will allow us to proceed with the work that was envisioned when that district was created.
And both of them were donated.
That's correct.
You've heard the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item 12.
Item 12 is a recommendation to, 1, accept the following grant assignment of permanent and existing right-of-way easements previously granted and conveyed to the Clermont County Transportation Improvement District for roadway purposes necessary for project number PID 90530 relative to the 9-mile Tabasco Road Bridge Replacement Project located in Pierce Township. And 2, to acknowledge that any and all compensation relative to the following easements has been satisfied by the Clermont County Transportation Improvement District pursuant to compliance with resolution number 2020-02 ratified by the Clermont County Transportation Improvement District Board of Trustees on 2/14/2020. There's a whole list of easements here, quite a few. These were all acquired by the TID for that 9-mile bridge replacement that was completed last fall. So this would transfer those easements from the TID to the county for ongoing permanent maintenance.
Heard the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further conversation or discussion?
None.
Jeremy, that 9-mile Tabasco Road Bridge is a great addition to that roadway.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
It did. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number 13.
Good morning, Mary Raines from the Office Management and Budget. Item number 13 is a request to approve the increase in the 2020 annual appropriations for the General Fund, Clerk of Common Pleas Court, as well as the Certificate of Title Fund, regular salaries. Each one of them are $8,409, and it's to pay out of vacation accrual for a retired employee.
You've heard the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
That completes the non-consent agenda as provided. Item F, additions to the agenda. Tom, I understand there are 3.
Commissioners, we have 3 for your consideration. The first is to rescind the contract for inmate health services. Second is to extend the current contract for inmate health services. And last, in the Water Resources Department, it's the USDA Rural Development Application.
You've heard the need to modify the agenda to add 3 additional items on. Do I have a motion to add those items?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes, the agenda has been amended, and we'll start with that first item. Morning.
They're in order.
Okay, thank you. On the recommendation of Joseph A. Palmer, Jail Administrator, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to resolve to rescind the health services agreement by and between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and Southern Health Partners for the provision of adult inmate medical, dental, and mental health services at the Clermont County Jail, in concert with the request for proposals for adult inmate medical, dental, and mental health services heretofore approved for solicitation by the Board of County Commissioners on 12/3/19 pursuant to and in compliance with Section 307.862 of the Ohio Revised Code, and being the sole proposal received therefore on 12/26/2019, with said services to commence 3/6/2020 through 1/31/2021, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 3/6/2020, inasmuch as the additional staffing required therefore cannot be implemented prior to April 15th, 2020, and further that it is the intent of both parties to proceed to provide the aforesaid stated services through the execution of an agreement pursuant to the aforestated proposal and the relevant terms and conditions negotiated therefore on or before 4/15/2020. So basically the contract that we had negotiated had a different beginning date. Those services can't be put in place until April 15th. So in an effort to make this clean, we're looking to rescind that. We revised the new contract with the appropriate numbers. Everything's the same, except it now has the correct numbers. So the intent is to go forward with that contract.
Okay, you've heard the reading of a resolution and recommendation by the administrator to rescind the Southern Health Partners provision of adult inmate medical and health services. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Anything further? Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Next one?
Next one is recommendation of our Stephen Leahy County Sheriff with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel County Administrator to execute an extension and amendment of health services agreement with Southern Health Partners, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 7/26/2005, subsequently extended on 11/8/06, 1/14/09, 1/31/11, 1/16/13, 1/28/15, to 1/17, 1/30/19, 1/29/20 for the provision of inmate health services at the Clermont County Jail, effective for the period of 4/1/2020 through 4/15/2020, with all other terms and conditions of the original agreement and amendments thereto to remain in full force and effect. So basically, until the other contract becomes effective, we need to extend the current one, which expires on April 1st.
You've heard the reading of the add-on to extend the current contract for Southern Health Partners for jail medical provisions for inmates. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. And the third one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, it's okay. We can take care of it. Okay. It's a recommendation of Chris Rowland, professional engineer, assistant sanitary engineer with the concurrence of Lyle G. Balloon, professional engineer, director of utilities, Clermont County Water Resources Department to adopt resolution number 045-20, resolving to authorize Curtis Strickland, state RCAP coordinator with the Ohio Rural Community Assistant Partners, 127 South Front Street, P.O. Box 590, Fremont, Ohio, 43420, to prepare and submit a USDA rural development application via the new RD Apply online application system for additional financing for project number 6402-60117 relative to the Newtonsville wastewater treatment plant project located in Wayne Township, with the application to be ratified by the Board of County Commissioners upon completion thereof. You've heard the reading of the recommendation. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Painter?
Yes. Any further additions to the agenda, Tom?
No, sir.
Thank you. I'll move to G. County elected official discussions. Any county elected officials or need to have a discussion with the board today?
Commissioners, we have a couple of staff members here. First, I want to introduce Mike Bamer, our Communications Coordinator, with an update on the flyers that the Commissioners requested at Monday's meeting.
Okay.
Mike?
We followed up on the request from the previous meeting on Monday, and I've worked with Pam Haverkos, our emergency management leader, to come up with email and websites and phone numbers for people who, maybe like seniors or other people that aren't internet savvy, to do a mailing across the county, and got price range, and so the cost range looks like around $20,000 to send it to 70,000 households. But there's another option that looks like would be viable that could cost about $14,000.
Okay.
What's the size on this flyers?
It's a 4x6. Actually, it might be a little bit larger with the new option. 4x6 card is what.
I'd recommend we do something larger so they can read it. Not have to get out their bifocals every time they want to look up a number.
Yeah, that would affect the cost, I'm sure.
Yes, yes.
It's very detailed mailing cost.
And our,
Font be enlarged on that card still, in the
Mhm.
information on it?
okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe the font could be enlarged.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
it's all right. Is it in color, Mike?
Black and white.
What's it going to cost us to do the color? Usually that's not running too much more these days,
Yeah,
but,
I don't know, I haven't explored that option. I can do
Okay.
that.
Well, take a look at that option, 4x6, 5x7, what the difference is there. I know there's a certain particular size that once you get to that size, you have to go, Class A postage.
Right,
That becomes.
yeah, that's the
That's it.
big thing.
And you said there was another option for about 14. What was that
Right,
option?
it's a different mailing option.
Okay.
how do we expedite? Which one expedites the fastest for us?
With all of them, it's like 5 to 7 days. People would get it in 5 to 7 days.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you for the research on that. Appreciate it.
And-
Do we have a
and
design?
You're proceeding with putting some type of design together with obviously Pam's input.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of the vendors actually included design in the cost, which was
Nice.
great.
Okay,
Nice.
okay.
Yes?
I was just going to say, is it only Pam Haverkost or not Julianne Nesbitt as the health
Oh,
commissioner?
I would assume that Julianne.
Yeah.
And the
Thank
whole
you.
team there.
And senior services, I looped them in too.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate that.
So, board, do we need to move ahead on a motion to that, to authorize that, or not? It was just brought out by me as a suggestion the last time. I'm just wondering if we need a motion to authorize.
You have,
You want to go ahead?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at report.
Well,
Is
the
it
next,
something
the next
you
time
wanna
the
see
commissioners
first?
meet will be next Wednesday, so
Okay.
if it's a timeliness issue about having to get these out, we'd have to have some type of authorization to move forward, with that plan today, so that we could get those out over the next week.
Okay. You want to go ahead and make a motion for that?
I'd make a motion that we go ahead and proceed with the mailing, a direct mailing. Yes,
first you want to have an additional item to the agenda?
thank you very much, yes. Always keeping me on mark, Judy.
So we would like, I'll make a motion that we add an additional item to the agenda today to consider the design, completion, mailing of a Clermont County communication flyer to approximately 70,000 households to ensure that we touch those who are not connected on the internet or by some electronic means, or that have some other restriction that keeps them from being able to get to those media sources, to where we can get this information out to them as quickly as possible and as clearly as possible.
And Mike, so the total cost, if we went to approximately to the larger, or at least to the 4x6 with that current mailing,
Right.
Yes,
would be what?
Black, white, color.
I would add, let me just add to that motion, not to exceed 25,000.
Okay, that's what I was
That work?
asking.
yes.
That work? Okay.
Thank you.
That's the motion, the motion's been made to add that to the agenda. Do I have, the recommendation's been made to add it to the agenda, do I have a motion to add?
I'll second that. You made the motion, or do you want me to make? I'll second.
I made the motion, you
Thank you.
second it. Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Okay, now that item's been added to the agenda, so,
So now you want a motion and a second to?
that's correct. So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Clermont County Commissioners authorize the issuance of a communication flyer to approximately 70,000 households within Clermont County in an effort to reach those who are limited as far as electronic media, television, and any other means except U.S. mail, to cause the design to be produced and subsequent mailing not to exceed $25,000. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. It's been approved. Is there any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Anything else, Tom?
Commissioners, I have Mr. Harris, our CTC director, here to discuss our new Richmond route. So I want to introduce him and let him talk to you a little bit about some of the issues we're having with reduction in ridership.
We are under Clermont County Staff Elected Official Discussion. Item G. Morning, Mr. Harris.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, you?
Good morning. So as Tom said, we're going to recommend to go down from 2 New Richmond routes to 1. It's been since Thursday since anyone has ridden on that route. In order to minimize exposure to drivers, we just want to go down to 1 route. And that will look like our holiday schedule we typically go to, so our riders will be used to it. So typically it starts at 6:35, and we have a one that starts at 7. So we'd go down to 6:35. So we'd go down to 6:45 going downtown Cincinnati, and we come back. Typically, we go at 16:45 and 17:15. So our proposal would be just to pick everyone up at 17:15, should there be any riders.
Okay.
Do you think that possibly it's been reduced because everything's shut down downtown?
I know that on the Amelia routes, that there are people that work in Government Square that still go.
Okay.
I would assume that no one in Richmond works at Government Square. But I don't want to completely close it down in case there's a chance that, they have to go in the office that day or something.
And we can reevaluate later.
Exactly, and this is only temporary. When all this stuff calms down, we can reopen it back up to normal.
Tom, is this something that we're going to need a motion on, or is this something?
This is
Okay.
just for information only.
Okay.
And as Mr. Harris said, we can always start the route at any time. So if there's an increased demand, whether it be next week, this is just going to a typical holiday schedule. We can always start it back up again. And I think we're going to go ahead and have Mr. Harris make sure he advertises it and notifies all our current riders, although since I think last Friday we haven't had any.
Do you not have to have the public hearings required?
We've checked on that right now, and we don't think it's because of the current crisis situation that it would be necessary. It's just we're not eliminating the
You're
entire new.
suspending it.
Yes, we're not eliminating the total New Richmond route. We're just compensating for lack of riders.
Right.
And we can always start it back up again.
With your approval, what I'll do is I'll send up the notice of change to ODOT, and then they'll annotate that.
So this is information only. We want to make sure the board is aware.
Right.
And as far as ODOT's concerned, do we have two routes? I mean, is that what they're aware of, or do we just say we just have a New Richmond route? How do
When we
we
change our
identify?
service, so our New Richmond route has two different times. So what we'll tell them is we're reducing our times of pickup, and they'll annotate that, so it won't affect any government funding or anything like that.
Okay, is that, Judy?
My thought is that the term suspend, so that if, within 6, 7, 8 weeks, that at this point in time, and as a result of the governor's order, that I would indicate to suspend it and not to eliminate it.
No, there's no intention.
Right, right.
If they have a demand, I mean, if something happens next week and there's a demand for it, we'll run the route.
Well, and since this is under an
use of
emergency,
word.
since it's under an emergency situation, why don't we just add it to the agenda and we'll just take care of it to suspend? That work? I think that's the best way to do that. So, Mr. Harris, if you would read the resolution or suggested resolution that you would want considered by the board.
Okay, let me see what I got here. So as of Friday, we haven't had any riders going downtown. I recommend that reducing the 2 routes down to 1 and having the drivers rotate between performing the routes and being on call. I recommend
You're recommending temporarily suspending the 7 o'clock New Richmond route?
Correct. So rather than having 2 buses, one go at 6:35 and one go at 7:05, I'll send one bus at 6:45.
Okay.
And then the same in the afternoon. Rather than going at 16:45 and again at 17:15, I'll just send one bus at 17:15.
Okay, so the resolution that we're adding to add to the agenda is to temporarily suspend one New Richmond bus route that's performed by CTC that normally runs at 7:05 a.m. and results in pickup at 6:45 at some period of time.
Correct.
Until ridership picks up to the point to where both bus routes will be required.
Correct.
So you're reducing 2 routes to 1 in the village of New Richmond.
Correct.
And you're changing the time of those, of the.
Correct.
Of the one remaining route.
Of the,
We're splitting the difference so that
Okay?
someone need to.
We've got I'll make a motion that we add this item to the agenda. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. Corcoran,
Yes.
Mr. Painter,
Yes. Item's been added to the agenda, and now we would like to consider that item. Judy, could you kind of just paraphrase that?
my understanding is it's the recommendation of William Harris, the Director of Clermont Transportation Connection, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to reduce the routes in the village of New Richmond from 2 to 1, and to change the time for the one remaining route at this point in time. In and as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic and the order of the governor to, I'm going to call it shelter in place, which has reduced the number of individuals utilizing that route.
Thank
That
you.
was excellent. Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. Anything further? Roll call, Judy.
Ms. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Bill, you have a temporary suspension.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Tom, anything further?
Sir.
Okay. If there's nothing further to come before the board, I will move to H, member comments. Commissioner Corcoran, any comments for the board today?
Just a big thank you for communication department and everyone, our administrator, everyone that's working very hard to keep things going in the county, and for all the staff that is there looking after our children, the elderly, and just taking care of business. It's very much appreciated.
You bet. This is a trying time. It's a time where all Clermont County citizens need to pull together to stay safe, to watch after your families, and may the good Lord bless you and keep you safe. Thanks for watching today. I now ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting,
I'll make that motion.
and I'll second that motion. Roll call, Judy.
Ms. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes, we stand in adjournment. We will see you next Wednesday. Thanks for watching and participating today in this new forum. Thank you.